Hey everyone, it's Zag. And let's be real, Microsoft Windows is king of the desktop. It's what most of us use, it's what most of us know. But you know what? Even kings can learn a thing or two. Linux, that open source land of innovation, has been quietly crushing it in a few key areas. I'm talking features that make you scratch your head and go, why isn't Windows doing this? Now, before the Windows diehards hit me with the Mac versus PC arguments, let's be clear, Windows has gotten a lot better. Remember those dark days of Windows 8? We've come a long way. And yeah, they've even dipped their toes into the Linux waters with WSL, but there's still a whole buffet of awesome features Windows could borrow from Linux to level up the user experience. So in this video, we're diving deep into those features. 7 to be exact. 7 things that if Microsoft is watching, and they probably are, they should steal from Linux right this second. Okay, first up, let's talk about package management. And no, I'm not talking about your Amazon delivery notifications. This is about how software gets installed, updated, and managed on your system. Linux has had this figured out for ages. They use these things called package managers, AP, DNF, Pacman, the gang's all here. Think of them like app stores on steroids. You want to install something, one command, boom, done. Need to update all your software, one command, it checks for updates for everything, not just your browser or antivirus, and updates it all at once. No more hunting down individual websites, downloading EXs, dealing with weird installers. It's beautiful, it's consistent, it's secure, and it just works. Windows? Well, they've got Winget, which is a step in the right direction, I'll give them that. It's like they saw the cool kids with package managers and thought, hey, we want one too. But honestly, it's still pretty basic. It's like having a tricycle when what you really need is a superbike. Imagine a world where installing Photoshop on Windows was as easy as typing sudo apt install Photoshop. Okay, maybe not that easy, Adobe's got Adobe. No more sifting through sketchy download sites, no more worrying about DLL hell, just pure, clean software nirvana. Microsoft, take notes. Alright, next up, let's talk about something near and dear to my heart, and probably yours too if you're watching this at night dark mode. I mean, who wants to be blinded by 1,000 suns every time they open a settings window? Linux gets it. Most desktop environments on Linux, you know, GNOME, KDE, XFCE, they all have system-wide dark mode baked right in. And when I say system-wide, I mean system-wide. It's not just the windows and menus, apps respect it too. It's like stepping into a perfectly lit bat cave, easy on the eyes, super stylish. Windows, on the other hand, well, they're trying. They've got a dark mode, and it's gotten better, but it's still a bit hit or miss. Some apps play nice, some just ignore it completely, and you end up with this weird Frankenstein interface. It's 2023, Microsoft. We shouldn't be messing around with individual app settings just to get a consistent dark mode experience. Give us a real unified dark mode API that developers can easily implement. Make it mandatory for apps on the Microsoft Store to follow it. Let's banish eye strain to the digital shadow realm where it belongs. Let's talk about multitasking, people, specifically virtual desktops. This is another area where Linux has been killing it for, well, decades. They understand that one desktop isn't enough to contain the chaos of modern life. On Linux, virtual desktops are like digital workspaces. You can have one for work, one for gaming, one for that super secret project you're working on. And the best part? They're persistent. You close your laptop, go fight a dragon, come back, and your virtual desktops are exactly how you left them. Windows? Not so much. Yeah, they've got Task View, which is basically Microsoft's take on virtual desktops, but it's like they're stuck in the Stone Age. You reboot your system, and poof, your carefully arranged virtual desktops vanish into the digital ether. It's 2023, Microsoft. Virtual desktops should be treated like first-class citizens, not temporary guests. And while we're at it, let's talk about multi-monitor support. Linux lets you assign different virtual desktops to different monitors. You can have your main workspace on one screen and your Netflix binge-watching station on another. Seamless. Windows? Not so much. Microsoft, it's time to step up your virtual desktop game. Persistence and better multi-monitor support. That's what we need. Chapter 4. Permissions, because security matters. Alright, let's get serious for a minute and talk about security. Specifically, user permissions. Now, I'm not going to bore you with technical jargon, but the gist is this. Linux is built from the ground up with a security-first mindset. They have this thing called the root user, which is basically like the admin account on steroids. But here's the kicker. You don't use the root account for everyday tasks. Nope, you use a regular user account, and when you need to do something that requires admin privileges, you use this magical command called sudo. It's like asking politely for permission before doing something potentially dangerous. This way, even if some rogue software tries to mess with your system, it's much harder for it to do any real damage because it doesn't have those root privileges. Windows, on the other hand, well, they've got user account control, UAC, which is like the annoying younger sibling of sudo. It pops up every 5 seconds asking if you're really sure you want to do something, even if it's as simple as changing your desktop background. And let's be honest, most people just click yes without thinking twice, which kind of defeats the purpose. What Windows could learn from Linux is that granular permission system. Imagine if apps on Windows had to ask for permission to access your files, camera, or microphone just like they do on your phone. Imagine if you could easily control which apps have access to what. Imagine a world where you didn't have to worry about some random software installing a keylogger without your knowledge. That's the power of a well-designed permission system, and that's something Windows desperately needs. Chapter 5. Update your way, not the highway. Let's talk updates, shall we? It's like that thing you know you should do but always seem to put off until the last possible second. Linux, being the cool, customizable OS that it is, gives you options. You want full control over your updates? You got it. You want to schedule them for a specific time? No problem. You want to live life on the edge and use a rolling release model where you're constantly getting the latest and greatest software? Go right ahead. Windows, on the other hand, well, they're a bit more insistent. Updates? You're getting them, whether you like it or not. Sure, you can postpone them for a little bit, but eventually, resistance is futile. It's like that one friend who shows up unannounced and just decides to stay for a week, and don't even get me started on those forced reboots. I mean, come on, I'm in the middle of something important here. What Windows could learn from Linux is the beauty of choice. Give users the option for a rolling release channel, like Windows Insider, but for everyone. Let us decide when and how we want to update our systems. It's our data, our hardware, our choice. Chapter 6. Less is more fighting software bloat. Let's be honest, sometimes Windows feels like that one friend who always brings way too much stuff when you go on a trip. You know, the one with the giant suitcase full of just-in-case items. It's like Microsoft just can't help themselves but to cram every possible feature and app into Windows, whether you'll ever use them or not. Linux, on the other hand, is all about that minimalist life. You want a bare-bones system with just the essentials? Linux is like, I got you. You want to build your own custom setup with only the apps you know and love? Go right ahead, my friend. This modularity is one of the things that makes Linux so powerful. You're not bogged down by unnecessary bloat, so your system runs smoother, faster, and can even breathe new life into older hardware. Imagine a world where Windows offered a light version, stripped down to the bare essentials, optimized for speed and efficiency. Imagine if they gave users more control over what background processes were running, freeing up valuable resources for the things that actually matter. Less bloat, more speed, more happy users. It's a win-win situation. Chapter 7. The Terminal, your new best friend. Alright, for the final feature, let's talk about something near and dear to any power user's heart, the terminal. Now before you click away thinking this is just for nerds who speak in code, hear me out. The terminal or command line is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. It's like having direct access to the heart of your computer, and on Linux, it's a thing of beauty. Linux terminals are customizable, powerful, and integrated deeply into the operating system. You can do pretty much anything from the terminal, from managing files to installing software to even controlling your smart home devices. It's like having a Swiss Army knife for your computer. Windows? Well, they've got PowerShell, which is Microsoft's attempt at a modern command line interface. And it's fine. It's powerful, sure, but it's also got this weird cryptic syntax that makes it feel like you're trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics. What Windows could learn from Linux is the importance of making the terminal accessible and user-friendly. They've already got Windows Terminal, which is a step in the right direction. Make it the default terminal experience, ditch the old command prompt, and give PowerShell a syntax makeover. Empower users to unlock the full potential of their systems. Outro time for Windows to step up. So there you have it, 7 features Windows could steal from Linux to become even more awesome. Look, I get it, Windows is a powerful operating system and it's come a long way. But there's always room for improvement, and sometimes you just gotta borrow, ideas from the best. Imagine a world where Windows had native package management, a true system-wide dark mode, better virtual desktops, a more secure permission system, flexible updates, a more lightweight system, and a modern, user-friendly terminal. It'd be like upgrading from a donkey to a unicorn. Microsoft, I know you're listening. You've shown a growing interest in Linux with WSL, so clearly you recognize its strengths. Let's make these features a reality in Windows. Until then, Linux users will continue to enjoy these benefits while Windows users patiently wait for you to catch up.